In the heart of Odisha, nestled between the sacred groves and the whispering hills, lay the village of Satyabadi, a land untouched by haste, where traditions flowed like the quiet rivers, timeless and serene. And it was here that Niyoti, a 24-year-old classical Odissi dancer with hair like cascading midnight, prepared for a transformation that would silence the gossiping winds and echo through generations. Niyoti was grace incarnate. Her every movement on stage spoke of gods and battles, of love and longing, of victory and surrender. Her long, flowing hair had become her signature, braided for performances, adorned with fresh jasmine, swaying like poetry in motion. Yet, beneath the applause and admiration, her heart carried a storm. Her mother, Supriya, had been diagnosed with late-stage breast cancer. As her hair thinned and fell from the cruel touch of chemotherapy, Niyoti saw her once proud mother retreat into shadows of shame. One evening, as she gently rubbed oil into her mother's balding scalp, Supriya whispered, "How do I still feel beautiful when even my reflection avoids me?" Niyoti's heart cracked open. That night, staring at her own reflection, her hair thick and glorious, she made a vow under the moonlight. "If Amma must lose her crown unwillingly, then I shall surrender mine willingly. For her, for every woman who suffers in silence, for something beyond myself." The village elders were stunned when Niyoti announced her decision to offer her hair at the Lingaraj temple, not as a mourning ritual or forced vow, but as an act of devotion, solidarity, and strength. Rumors spread. Why would such a beautiful girl do this? What will happen to her dancing? Who will marry her now? But Niyoti stood undeterred. On the morning of her ritual tonsure, she wore a white cotton sari, bare of ornaments, with only a single tulsi leaf tucked at her waist. At the temple courtyard, under the gaze of the ancient deities, she knelt before the ceremonial barber, her palms folded, her eyes calm. Villagers gathered, some in disbelief, others in awe. The first snip of the scissors sounded louder than thunder. Thick braids fell to the stone floor like offerings. Then came the scraping of the razor, slow, methodical, sacred. With each stroke, something more than hair was removed. Ego, vanity, fear, and sorrow fell away. Tears welled in the eyes of onlookers, not of pity, but reverence. As the final patch was cleared, Niyoti lifted her bare head toward the temple spire, eyes closed, breathing in a silence she had never known. She looked radiant, not in spite of her baldness, but because of it. The priest stepped forward and marked her shining scalp with sandalwood paste. "Shuddhi," he whispered, "purified." When she returned home, her mother wept, not in sadness, but in pride. They embraced, two women bound not by hair or illness, but by a love fierce enough to shatter every tradition. Weeks later, Niyoti danced again, bald and resplendent under temple lights. And the audience saw not what was missing, but what had been revealed: raw beauty, sacred defiance, and the strength of a woman who had chosen her own path. Weeks later, Niyoti danced again, bald and resplendent under temple lights. And the audience saw not what was missing, but what had been revealed: raw beauty, sacred defiance, and the strength of a woman who had chosen her own path. And so, Niyoti became legend, not for her hair, but for the power of her sacrifice, the head she bowed, the blade she embraced, the silence she wore like a crown.